Hi, I'm Ralph Amicis, one of the co-producers of Wine Country at Work TV. We've been producing the series since 2012 about just that, what goes on behind the scenes in wine country, the people who work there and how they do that magic that they do every single day. We're working on a 3-part series now within our regular episodes, and it's about sustainability, organic, and biodynamic farming, and their influence and their effects on wine country. When I say their effects on wine country, I mean the people who work there, the people who visit, the people who buy the wines, and the general healthfulness of the wines. Realize that when you come to wine country, the only things we talk about are food, wine, and weather, but we take them very seriously. And things like sustainability and organic and biodynamic farming are subjects that affect people very directly. So we had started working on one particular episode about this. And after this little talk, there's a couple of interviews from that episode. And as we did these episodes, we realized how passionate people are about this topic, how much dedication, how much time they've devoted to this pursuit. And we realized it needed a bigger voice. It needed a bigger venue than we were providing. So that's why we're raising funds to do a 3-part series done to higher production levels necessary to get us onto PBS so that we can get a national viewing for this topic. So please listen to the interviews and consider making a contribution. Thank you.
We came at it and we farmed conventional because we didn't really know any better. And we just kind of went out there and all our neighbors farmed a certain way and we kind of saw what they were doing, we kind of copied them. I kind of call it the spray and pray method, but you know, if there was a problem in the vineyard, you talked to the Monsanto guy and he gave you a big bag of methyl ethyl bad stuff and you went out and nuked the vineyards. But see, prior to this, the property had been left vacant for 50 years, so it was a beautiful garden. It was in great shape because no one really had farmed it, so it was left to its own devices. It was very healthy. But then we got in there, we cleared the land, put up the fencing and started spraying and planting grapevines. And every year I watched that property slowly die and die and die. And then you fast forward 10 years and I remember walking through the vineyards and the grapes looked good, but there was no cover crop. It was dirt, and that dirt was either rock hard or it was pulverized talc. Every time it rained, there would be erosion issues. We had phylloxera, we had nematodes outbreaks, and worst of all, our wine quality wasn't getting any better. And for me, the big moment was I remember being in the vineyards, and the only sound I heard was wind. Oh. No bugs, no birds, nothing. And I realized that, man, this was a sad piece of property that 10 years prior was a healthy garden. So we knew we needed to switch. And that was about 1994. And we started to bring in biodynamics that we learned from the Ciego vineyard up in Mendocino and Alan York, God rest his soul. We brought in our practices, and it took us about 6 years to transition the property. In the first 3 years, it was very tough. We almost gave up. But then we saw how some of the European properties did it, and that gave us the kind of energy to pursue it to its end. And then in 2000, we started to see the fruition. We started to see this piece of property come back to life. And now we fast forward a couple more decades to 2016, and you walk out in that vineyard, and it's every bit as healthy as it was when we first moved here in 1980. The only difference is that it's a working farm, where before it was left fallow. Now it's a beautiful working farm that makes incredible wine and olive oil and figs and vegetables. All sorts of wonderful things are grown on this property now because of biodynamics.
Well, what's interesting for me is that when you look at biodynamics, it's as if you're having a conversation with the land. You're treating it as a living
That's
organism.
a wonderful, I love that, how you say that, a conversational land, because that is what you're having there. And with that, the land kind of, it speaks to you and it lets you know, because we actually, we had 65 acres of grapes back then when we were farming this property unbalanced. Now we have it down to 40. Those other acres, I referred to them, the entire piece of property is 85 acres. We have 40 acres under vine. Those 45 acres are now the supporting cast, if you will, that makes the 40 acres of vines the lead actor more believable. And so they bring back the life back into those acreage, whether it's riparian or pasture land or gardens, insectaries, orchards, groves, all this stuff brings this property back to life.
Also, it's interesting, I remember you telling me that when they replanted the vineyards, they realigned them as
Yes.
well. They changed the direction of them, and it must have been quite a change from years of conventional farming to biodynamics.
Yeah, well, bringing back the life, and so that was a big part of realigning with the orientation for the sun and for the wind and for the timing of the grape varieties that were being planted here for when they mature, as well as for the garden and just introducing native plants that provide a host for beneficial insects that can develop soil biology and bring back soil health and bring back life onto the property and the diversity that already is here occurring in the valley, but giving it its home.
Right.
And so I can see the improvement in our plants through being organic and biodynamic, and the improvement in the health and the life, the health of the ecosystem that has resulted in transitioning to biodynamic and organic,
Yeah.
and also the resistance to disease and pest that has come through growing plants organically and biodynamically. But I can't say how it is affected by having a neighbor that's organic or biodynamic,
Right,
or having a neighbor who's growing conventionally.
right.
So I guess it creates a patchwork throughout the valley where you don't have the same open corridors. So if you had, for example, neighbors who were all organic and biodynamic, then you could coordinate hedgerow plantings and other plantings throughout that would allow for a corridor below the soil or above the soil,
Right.
of wildlife.
We hope you enjoyed the interviews, and thank you for watching. If you would like to make a contribution to this project, please visit our website, and you can also call us directly at 707-235-2364 to speak with us. Thank you so much.